For everything scary, I'm GMHaunts, and today I'm here with my Spirit Halloween Reaper's Rest theme idea showcase. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to part 2 of my Spirit Halloween theme ideas, the second episode in what might become a brand new series on my channel where I create various theme ideas from my mind. Now, if you missed the first episode of where I came up with my theme idea when I talked about my idea for the Halloween Express, you should definitely go check out that episode right after you finish watching this one. Go check that one out. That one came out a few weeks ago. Now, if you didn't watch that one, there's some backstory you're missing out on, but I'll briefly fill you in. But again, the first one talks about this more. Basically, when I went to the Spirit Halloween flagship store opening on July 31st, I had the pleasure and honor to get to speak to Mike Kroll, the ISE or theme designer for Spirit Halloween, for about 15 minutes, and I asked him a question that I had been wondering for years and years, and that question was, what software do you use to create the ISEs? Well, he told me, and since episode 1, I have been creating various theme ideas of things that I have been wanting to see for years and bringing them to life. In my first episode, I created Halloween Express, a Halloween train that featured various animatronic spots, and today I am here with part 2, my second idea that I am bringing to the channel, and it is Reaper's Rest. So, ladies and gentlemen, Reaper's Rest is a tomb idea that I've had. Now, I have to be honest with you, I didn't really ever think that I would come up with a tomb idea or something like that. It's sort of related to a graveyard, but I thought, wait a minute, it would be really cool to design a sort of tomb that you could walk into and that the animatronics were actually inside of instead of just outside of it. So I created Reaper's Rest, or Reaper's Resting Place. As you can see from my designs, Reaper's Rest is a sort of tomb-looking mausoleum type of structure with a slanty pyramid at the top of it, 2 risers at the front where 2 big animatronics would go. Obviously, in recent years, we've seen the layout of the ISEs with the 2 big animatronics in the start, such as Reaper's Island featured 2 in the beginning with Crouchy and the Butcher. This one, the Tomb Reaper's Rest that I have designed, has 2 risers in the front where animatronics would go, right in the front of where this mausoleum, facade would be going. Now, as you can see, the sides of the facade feature another spot for animatronics, with one side featuring 2 cracks in kind of the concrete. Now, when this would be colored, I'm not going to color them because normally these models aren't colored, but if it did become to life and when it was actually brought into a real theme, I believe that the texture of the walls would look like stone, and all those carved out things would look like holes in the stone that someone broke into, and when you walk into those 2 spaces that are on the side, you would actually be kind of walking into a space that's inside of the tomb with a ceiling over it, and the animatronic risers that you're seeing on the screen right now would actually be on a part that's inside of the tomb. Therefore, you would actually be able to walk into it through those cracks in the stone. Going back to the entrance of the facade, as you can see, there's actually an entrance and then a walkthrough aspect to it that goes right through the tomb. I think that would be really cool if you'd be able to walk through the middle of it and then again go around the side and walk back into it to see the risers with animatronics on it. As you can see at the end of the walkthrough and where the little boxes at the end of the tomb, you can actually see I implemented a jumping spider spot where a jumping spider would go, because obviously most of the themes nowadays feature jumping spiders, so I wanted to include it in this Reaper's Rest theme as well. As you can see, at the end of the tomb, I have implemented 2 boxes where animatronics would go. Now, these spaces you wouldn't actually be able to walk into. You would just be able to see into them through a carved out broken rock space, as you can see on the screen right now. You would have animatronics inside those boxes, and you would just be able to see into them through those carved out spaces. At the top of the facade, I have very pyramid slanty kind of things, making the effect of a mausoleum, which a tomb and a mausoleum have a very unique looking shape to them, with that kind of pointy part at the top, which is what I'm going for on these shapes of pyramids that I went for at the top of the facade here. I think there's a lot of opportunity for lighting in this idea. I think you could easily run various light strings to the inside of the facade, in the actual walkthrough part and the part where you actually walk into it. I think you could definitely put in some light strings and maybe some purple lights or some blue lights, really creating a dark effect of a tomb. I think that would be really cool. Going back to the entrance, I think you could also have some lighting shining onto the entrance. Now, I'll put an arrow to where I think this would be. The entrance of the facade, in my mind, would say, "Here lies Jack the Reaper," because this is meant to be Jack the Reaper's tomb, the Spirit Halloween logo, if you don't know. I believe that this would be his tomb, and that would be the idea behind the theme, that he is buried alongside all of the animatronics that are also in the theme. That's why they're also inside of the tomb, that he's buried with all of his favorite monsters. Now, I believe that the entrance would say, "Here lies Jack the Reaper," and maybe a year on it, and then the back of it, I think, would also say something else related to Jack the Reaper and that he's buried there. Now, it would be really cool to feature some sort of Jack the Reaper dead body inside the walkthrough part. Maybe Spirit could put a table that would have like a body on it with a Jack the Reaper mask. I think that would be really, really neat to really show the connection between the tomb being Jack the Reaper's tomb of where he's buried. Now, I understand this is a pretty big ISE. It's not small. It has a lot of different components to it. But the reason I designed it like this was because the farmhouse from 2018 had a very similar slanty design to it. And honestly, I think the farmhouse was a lot bigger and a lot more complicated than what this Reaper's Rest idea that I created is. So honestly, I think this could be done. Would it be able to fit as a front ISE? Not really sure. Again, it is pretty big, and normally the front ISEs are a little bit smaller, so maybe Reaper's Rest would have to go into the back of the store because it does take up a decent amount of space and it has a lot of intricate pieces. Now, I know for my first episode of Spirit Halloween ISE Ideas, when I covered the Halloween Express, I said that the back theme would probably be a rail yard, that it would be the train in the front and the rail yard in the back. And to be completely honest with you, I don't really know what could go with Reaper's Rest. Obviously, this is a tomb ISE. No matter where it would go in the store, it needs to have a front or back to connect to it, depending on where it goes in the store. Now, I don't really know what could be the other idea. What is related to a tomb that could be as the second theme for whatever year this could happen? Could you see a graveyard possibly be with it because it's sort of related to a tomb? Could you see another Egyptian kind of thing to it? I'm not really sure. Let me know in the comments. What do you think other idea could go with Reaper's Resting Place or Reaper's Rest, whatever you want to call it? Now, I just want to touch on the name. Obviously, for this entire video and the title, I have been calling this Reaper's Rest. Now, honestly, I believe that's what I would name the theme if I did get to make this a real ISE. I would be calling it Reaper's Rest because, again, it is meant to be Jack the Reaper's tomb, and I think it could be called Reaper's Rest, and then on that stone texture have a carved-in letter saying, "Here lies Jack the Reaper," but you could call it also Reaper's Resting Place. I just like Reaper's Rest because it was a little bit shorter. Overall, this is an idea that I think I would really like to see in Spirit Halloween stores. It has a very nice size to it. You have a lot of opportunity for some really cool dark lighting to create a really cool effect on the animatronics. Obviously, in recent years, we've seen animatronics not really fit into the themes, like clowns being in a factory, and sort of things like that in recent years. Now, most likely this theme would also feature clowns in it, but obviously it's a tomb. I think it'd be really cool to feature a licensed mummy animatronic. I think that'd be really cool, or even just a generic mummy animatronic. I think that would be awesome. But again, in my mind, this is not a theme that is supposed to go with the mummy. This is just a Jack the Reaper themed tomb where he is buried, and he would be buried with all of his monsters that would come out for that year with animatronics. Overall, I would really love to see this happen at some point in the future for Spirit. I think a tomb is a really, really cool idea, and it's Halloween related. It's very original Halloween because it sort of involves zombies and skeletons, and I wish Spirit would do something like it, and maybe they do in the future. I think, again, Mike Kroll, the guy who designs the ISEs, always has amazing ideas, and I would love to see his own spin on what he could do with a tomb, and this is just my thinking about what it can look like. Obviously, it's big, but I think it'd be a really cool focus inside of Spirit Halloween stores for whatever year it happened. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap up my second episode of Spirit Halloween ISE Ideas, showcasing to you the Reaper's Rest theme that I created and designed. Let me know, do you want to see more ISE Idea Showcase videos? If this video does well, the last one definitely did. If this one also does well, I will keep creating ideas that I have in my mind and bring them to life in the program that Mike Kroll uses. I want to keep creating ideas, and I definitely have a lot of them, so let me know if you want to see more videos just like this. Ladies and gentlemen, remember, as always, for everything scary, I'm GMHaunts. I'll see you guys later for more Spirit Halloween 2021 videos. Goodbye.